In this video, I'll be using the Stainless Scrapper from Dragon Quest Monsters 2 as a Pokémon in Fire Red. The Stainless Scrapper, or Proto-Killer as it was known in Japanese, is the prototype of the killing machine, and it's statistically the weakest monster in the original GBC game. Its stat growths are so bad that I had to buff all of its base stats by at least one tier, to make it look somewhat viable as a Pokémon. It's just an early game monster that you would, well, scrap, later on. For base stats, it will have 48 HP in defense, 72 in both attacks, 46 in special defense, and 64 in speed, totaling an abysmal 350, lower than most basic Pokémon. Oh, and I purposely gave it stats similar to Unknown, which is arguably the worst final stage Pokémon. While higher growth table indices don't always mean better stats, all of the Stainless Scrapper's tables are among the worst. The table 6 it uses for attack and wisdom is actually great early on, but it basically stops growing after level 17, and everything else is downright dreadful. Thankfully, it gets the Crack and Zap skill set in the 3DS remakes, which translates to great type coverage in Pokémon. Since it's a robot, I gave it mostly beam attacks on level up. It's holding a Morning Star Mace, so Meteor Mash makes sense, and Overheat is there at level 1 as a joke. It gets Gamble Counter and Tenacity of the Dead as traits, neither of which has an equivalent move or ability in Pokémon Gen 3, so Counter, Substitute, and Reversal are the closest stand-ins. I'm probably not going to use any of them anyway. All basic solo run rules apply. I'm not using Hidden Power due to its luck-based nature in this generation. I will set up a Stainless Scrapper with perfect IVs and pre-applied EVs. It will have a neutral nature, because I could just edit its base stats directly if it needed a buff or a nerf. I split its EVs evenly between HP in both attacks, but this will come back to bite me later. It's a robot, so its typing will obviously be steel and electric. And since it has stainless in its name, Clear Body seems the most fitting as an ability. It should also make up for its horrendous stats, at least to some degree. It levels up the fastest in the original GBC game, so I put it in the 800,000 experience group. For its starting moves, I didn't want to give it the tier 1 ice and electric moves as they are boring, so I gave it a few thematic moves for flavor instead. Its engine in the original sprite is literally smoking, but I can't use self-destruct in a solo run, so Overheat will have to do. Also, Steel is probably the third worst offensive type in Gen 3, just ahead of Poison and Bug, due to its severely limited set of moves. Iron Head, Flash Cannon, Mirror Shot, Gyro Ball, Heavy Slam, and Metal Burst are all unavailable until the later generations. Boosting moves like Autotomize and Shift Gear didn't exist either. Anyway, Brock's gym is very easy, since neither of his Pokémon knows any ground moves. His Onix will always use Rock Tomb when I'm faster, and only when I'm faster, because the AI in these games treats it as a speed debuff, not a damage-dealing attack. But my Clear Body prevents stat drops, so that's all it will ever use. He gives the TM for Rock Tomb, which is really bad in this gen, with only 50 power and 80% accuracy. My experience group levels up quickly, so I'm already well over level 20 before the second rival battle. My stats though, are only equivalent to a middle stage starter at around level 18. I learned the tier 2 electric and ice moves, as well as Zap Cannon for theme. It's one of the worst moves in the game, so I won't keep it for long. The rival's Pidgeotto is usually annoying because of its sand attack, but I can easily one-shot it, and I'm immune to stat drops anyway. Everything on his team should be a one-shot, since I'm so over-leveled, and level does affect damage output in Pokémon games. I fought all the trainers on the way to Bill's lab, because I need the levels to make up for my terrible base stats. I have the typing advantage over Misty's team, but her Starmie is still faster, and it can confuse me with Water Pulse. All I can do is hope that I don't get confused, or at least don't hit myself in confusion. Well, I didn't, and it was a clean one-shot. The Stainless Scrapper is a robot, and water will just short it out, so it obviously can't learn Water Pulse. The ship fight is a total joke, as the rival's team is ridiculously underleveled, so I'll just speed through it. By the way, Meowth is the pickup Pokémon in these games, and pickup is the only way to farm berries before the post-game. You can also pick up rare candies and PP ups, as well as the Hidden Power TM. Surge, being the worst gym leader, is also a joke, even though electric types can still get paralyzed in this gen. Like the rival on the ship, his team is too underleveled, not to mention you can just catch a level 29 or 31 Dugtrio right next door in a normal playthrough. They should have kept his level 28 Raichu from yellow for some one-shot threat, but Dugtrio is still faster though. Despite its name, Shockwave is not a ground-type move, so it's useless to me, as my accuracy can't be lowered. I would have made it a ground move that can paralyze or stun, which electric Pokémon can learn for coverage. You'll naturally be overleveled for the rival fight in the Lavender Tower, due to the number of Force Trainer battles along the way. I fought some optional trainers as well, because I need the levels. With base stats like these, I doubt I can beat the game before level 75-ish, so every level counts. As a result, everything on his team will be a simple one-shot, and again, I'll just speed through the battle. The first Giovanni fight isn't much to talk about either. Onyx and Rhyhorn are just awful, and while his Kangaskhan has enough bulk to survive a couple of hits, it can't do much damage back. The trainers in Erica's gym are easy to beat and give good experience, and I need all the experience that I can get, so I fought most of them. Erica herself is also no challenge at all, simply due to my huge level advantage. Her Victory Bell and Tangela are obviously one-shots since they have terrible special defense, but I didn't expect her Vileplume to be a one-shot as well. It could have been a range, but whatever, it's not like it could do much anyway. She gives the Giga Drain TM, which is clearly useless to a robot. Koga's gym presents a massive level spike, but the bikers on the cycling road give excellent experience for this point in the game, and I level up quickly. I learned Meteor Mash, which is the strongest steel move in Gen 3, but it doesn't have perfect accuracy, and my attack stat isn't great. In case you're wondering, Doom Desire doesn't do steel-type damage. Like Future Sight, it's typeless and doesn't get stab, even if the user is also typeless. These moves have been changed from Gen 5 onwards to do damage of their respective types. His Weezing can survive a hit, but why does it still no tackle at level 43, instead of something like Flamethrower to cover steel types? Well, actually, you can't normally get a steel type in these games before beating him, since you need Surf to reach the power plant for Magnemite. The rival battle at Sylph Company isn't anywhere as hard as it might seem, because his team doesn't have any EVs at this point. Which is fortunate, as his Charizard can just one-shot me with Flamethrower if it goes first, as you'll see happen in the next fight. Remember what I said at the beginning, about my EV distribution coming back to bite me? Yeah, it will happen very soon. I was afraid of the second fight against Giovanni, who now has a Nidoqueen that can definitely survive a non-stab Ice Beam, but I remembered that it doesn't have Earthquake yet. In fact, none of his Pokémon know any ground moves in this fight, which is kind of bizarre if you ask me. I certainly won't complain, since I'm already getting tired of grinding. Even though I require 20% less experience to level up, I'm just not getting much stat increase per level. I'm so overleveled already that the Psychic Gym should be a piece of cake, but that was only because coverage moves like Focus Blast didn't exist yet. Despite a 16 level advantage, Sabrina's Alakazam was still faster than me, and had Focus Blast been in Gen 3, could easily one-shot me due to my abysmal special defense. I could definitely use Calm Mind, but it simply makes no sense on a mechanical monster. Blaine's gym is already a big problem for me. His fire types resist steel, and they all know Fire Blast that can two-shot me. I think his Arcanine can probably one-shot me, since Fire Blast still had 120 base power in this gen. Fortunately, my clear body ability nullifies Intimidate, so I should only need to set up Swords Dance once. But if that's not enough, I might just have to fish for either a Fire Blast miss from his lead Growlithe, or an attack boost from Meteor Mash. Brick Break after one Swords Dance one-shots his first 3 Pokémon, but it just misses out on a one-shot against his Arcanine. It could be a range, but I could just replace Brick Break with a stronger move instead. There are simply not many good physical TMs in Gen 3, and I can't be bothered to go all the way back to the tunnel for Rock Slide, so I'll just have to settle for Strength. Sure, it's a trash move, but at least it's 5 points stronger than Brick Break. I was trying to fish for an attack boost, in case my first attempt with Brick Break was a high roll, but Meteor Mash just missed. Well, I got the attack boost from Meteor Mash this time, so I'm definitely winning, because Strength has 100% accuracy, and the 1 in 256 bug doesn't exist in the remakes. The Fire Blast TM isn't going to help me, since I never have to face a Steel type, and I already have Ice Beam for Grass types. Giovanni's gym could also be a problem for me, due to my double weakness to ground, but I should be at a high enough level to outspeed his Dugtrio, which is his lowest level Pokémon. I do outspeed it, and the rest of his team should be easy one-shots with Ice Beam. Earthquake doesn't make sense on a flimsy automaton, so I didn't make it compatible. Before facing the rival, I need to get rid of Strength and replace it with Thunderbolt. Thankfully, these TMs can be purchased from the game corner. And this rival fight is where my EV spread came back to bite me. I put a third of my EV into HP instead of speed, but now his Charizard outspeeds me. It might have speed EV now, but it probably doesn't need any, since I only have 119 effective speed after the badge bonus. I should survive a flamethrower if I don't take any damage from his Pidgeot, but it knows quick attack, and he still has an Alakazam that's also faster. Well, flamethrower basically one-shots me, so I'll just have to use rare candies until I'm faster. Level 70 should be fine, if his Charizard doesn't have maxed speed EV. If it does, then even level 80 won't be enough, but I'll definitely be able to survive a hit at that level. Luckily, it doesn't have max speed, and everything else on his team won't pose any threat, since Focus Blast wasn't added until the next generation. Alakazam can still learn Focus Punch in this gen, but it's physical, and his one doesn't have it anyway. Here are my stats and moves for the Pokémon League. My attacks are barely decent, but my defenses are dreadful, and I doubt I can take more than one unresisted moves even at this high a level. I equipped an Aspear Berry for Lorelei, so this fight should be pretty much a free win. I have the typing advantage, and level does affect damage output in Pokémon, which means that the damage I deal is actually higher than my raw stats suggest. Damage taken does not scale with level though, so a higher level does not make me take less damage with the same defensive stats. I have a terrible matchup against Bruno, but all of his Pokémon are awful, besides his Machamp. Since I'm faster, his Hitmonchan will always pick Rock Tomb, despite me having clear body, and this gives me a chance to set up Swords Dance. The AI in this gen doesn't seem to be fully aware of abilities that provide ailment or debuff immunities. I don't see Agatha being too much issue, since I'm immune to poison, and Steel still resists Ghost in these games. I also have a Lum Berry to counter Hypnosis or Confuse Ray. However, I don't think I can beat the game at this level, seeing as her second Ganger is already faster than me. The rival's Charizard is 5 levels higher and will likely have maxed EVs by now, and its Fire Blast can certainly one-shot me. Anyway, I'll just let it play out and see. There is still a 15% chance that his Fire Blast misses, or I could always equip the Quick Claw and Fish for a proc, which is a 20% chance. Lance is a free win, so there's not much to talk about in this fight. Yes, his Aerodactyl is faster, but it doesn't know Earthquake, Fire Blast, or anything that can hit Steel types. In fact, almost everything on his team is severely hindered by a horrible moveset, especially his lead Gyarados, which doesn't even know Dragon Dance. I forgot to equip the Quick Claw for the final champion battle, so there goes my extra 20% chance of winning. Actually, the additional probability is only 17%, as Fire Blast miss can only occur if Quick Claw doesn't proc, but it's close enough, and the RNG in this game isn't exactly random either. Yeah, I mean, what could I expect, banking on a 15% miss chance? And even if I equip the Quick Claw, that's only a 32% chance, which is not even 1 in 3. I suppose I'll just have to resort to using rare candies until I'm fast enough to go first, but I might not have enough rare candies for it. In fact, if his Charizard has maxed speed EV, it will have over 180 speed at level 63, which I won't reach even at level 100. So, it will just depend on how high a level I need to be at to survive a Fire Blast, and perhaps a Psychic from his Alakazam as well. It's looking bleak either way. Instead of counting on the 32% chance with the Quick Claw, there's a much better way to more than double the odds, in the form of Double Team. Considering I will need luck to win anyway, I might as well maximize my chances. His lead Pidgeot can't do much to me even with critical hits, since its only move that can hit me is Aerial Ace. I'll just set up 6 double teams on it and hope for the best. And there we go, his Charizard misses Fire Blast and gets one-shot by my Thunderbolt. I don't have to worry about Focus Blast in this gen, and Psychic won't be able to take me out, so this one is in the bag. In conclusion, was this a satisfying win? Of course not. Short of grinding to level 100, I could only turn to luck-based strategies. But with atrocious stats like these, even after a sizable buff, I'm happy just to be able to win at all. Fortunately, the Stainless Scrapper seems to be the worst monster in DQM2, at least stats-wise, so everything else should only be better. Anyway, thanks for watching.